Good morning, everybody. This is Tom from Weekly Gospel Reflections. Today's message is going to be, sometimes do we take things for granted? And do we really appreciate the things that are around us? And remember, our actions that we do today can affect us what's going to happen tomorrow. So we're going to start out with 1 Chronicles 29:14. But who am I, said, who am I? And you are my people, that we should be able to give as generously as this. Everything comes from you, and we have given you only what comes from your hand. We are aliens and strangers in your sight, as were all the forefathers. Our days of earth is like a shadow, without hope. O Lord, our God, for all is this abundance that we have provided for building you a temple for you in the holy name. It comes from your hand, and of it belongs to you. Solomon, of course, David, uh, started the temple and had his people set it up. And the Lord wanted David's son, Solomon, to build the temple. And as you know, we sometimes don't really think about things here on this earth, that we actually take things for granted. And what I mean by this is, have you ever looked at your situation that you're in? Maybe the memories in the past that you really don't want to dwell upon, which you shouldn't. Always go forward. Maybe the politics that's going on around us now, the news that's happening around us, the jobs that you have. Maybe your situation, relationship's not going so good. Maybe things that it's itself around. You're just worried about everything, and you're constantly worried about this. And a guy the other day, an elderly man I talked with, I think I said this before, he's in his 80s and late 80s, 87, 88. And he was telling me, he says, it's no different. What we're going through now, we've gone through many financial crises. Everybody says, oh, it's not as it was as back then. It's not. Well, you know what? Uh, it's like in the 60s, you guys remember all the riots and all the things going on, the Vietnam War, all the things happening there. Everybody bring the people back. There's been so many things, challenges we go through. And it's no different that sometimes maybe the calamity around us, maybe a calamity happened to us, maybe you lost a house, maybe you lost a loved one, something that happened in the calamity, a storm, a typhoon, a hurricane, something that's happened. Uh, we all sometimes, the things around us that we don't really understand why it's happening, but it's happening. The time that we really need to do is, and I really believe this, is actually take the time, look around, stop, smell the flowers, relax. In fact, turn off the TV, turn off all the news. Alleviate that out of your life for a week, a month. See how much better you'll feel. Put the phone down. Don't use the phone. Don't even look at anything on there. Because our actions, what we do now, is going to influence what we're going to do in the future. Our actions, if it's good or pure actions now, will influence what's happening to us in the future. So many people dwell upon things that's happened in the past, and so many people dwell upon things that there's nothing you can just do about it. Can you solve a problem that's happening to you? No, you're not going to be able to do it alone. You need God to help you. If you pray to the Heavenly Father, He's going to help you solve those problems. The Lord Heavenly Father wants you to be you have him in your heart. And you ever wondered sometimes you're wondered why the things happen to you all the time, and you think to yourself, it doesn't happen to other people. Everything happens to everybody. There's not something, they just handle it differently. They just don't tell you. They just quiet about it. Everything. Their washing machine happens to die at the same time. Maybe the next year, the year after that, or the year before that. Maybe they're ran out of jobs. They just don't let people know it. Maybe they have no income. Maybe their credit is so horrible. They just keep their minds quiet about it. We know that if we depend on the Lord will give you what you need. If you need food, the Lord will find it for you and get it. There's been many times I prayed to Heavenly Father just yesterday. I really need this thing to happen, Lord. I've been thinking about this, and as you know, I've been talking about this. I really appreciate it if you could think about it. And He made it happen yesterday. It was just unbelievable. I was. I'll just tell you what it is. Uh, Back about 7 years ago, I was on Amazon as a seller, and I said I was trying to sell and make a little extra income to sustain our life, just help. Everybody needs that help. So I was selling and selling and selling, and Ruth and I, our internet got so bad here, we had to stop selling. So 7 years ago, we stopped. So we decided recently our internet's better, and I'll crank it back up again. But verification process is a lot harder than it was 7, 8, 9 years ago when I first started. It's actually I started 8, 9 years ago. So I started back up again, and they said, "Well, we got a phone, and we need to talk to you. We need to speak to you, okay? Because all the passport and the driver's license, all that's been entered, but they said we need bank statements. Okay, no problem. Here's bank statements. Long story short, just cut instead of me babbling on about it. I had an interview yesterday morning, and I had another interview, but it got canceled. And I had an interview yesterday morning at 9. And I prayed before, and I said, "Well, Lord, just let this happen. I'm not asking to sell millions of dollars. I'm just asking to sell where I can just make a few $100s a month, just something, $100 a month." So I went online, signed on the account, and it's always, please, you have to wait. You have to go through an interview. It says you need an interview. You can't go any further. I signed on and went through. Hmm? Interview rolled around at 9 yesterday. Nobody called. I go, what happened? They were so adamant about it. I mean, I even sent them emails. Nope, I sent them emails and constantly talking to support at Amazon. Nope, can't sell anything. You cannot do anything on your channel. Nothing. And it's an old account. I mean, this account's probably 12 years old. I was selling, I'd see something, and I'd put it on Amazon and sell it. Not a bunch of stuff, but Ruth and I were doing very well with it. But the internet got so bad we couldn't keep up with we couldn't do it. We just couldn't do it. If somebody may order something, you can't even get online to process it. And it takes funds. You got to have funds up to do it, and you guys understand that. So anyway, it's approved, and so I'm able to put something on. Yesterday, I put 2 or 3 items on. Well, there's too many variants and too many problems, and this, that, and other. So running in, the fact is that things have changed. And so we sometimes have to change ourselves to the need and adapt. But then again, too, we don't get so upset over it. It takes over our life. And like I said in Chronicles, God said to Solomon, "What desire would you like to have in your life? What would you desire? Wealth? What would you want?" And Solomon was smart. Wisdom. One of the best things in the world a man could ever have, because with wisdom, you can have everything. God says, since you want wisdom, you're still going to get everything you want. And God gave him everything he needed. God gave Solomon everything he ever wanted or needed. And Solomon, was he perfect? No. No one's perfect. But we know that the trials, tribulations, even he went through. He had times that were flustered him. He had some things he went through. But we know that we trust in God. God's going to set the rules for us in the 10 Commandments. As long as we obey those 10 rules, 10 Commandments, obey the Sabbath, do not commit adultery. Everybody knows those. The best thing in the world is, as long as you do those, God will always be by your side. It's like today. I said to myself, okay, I wrote a message up today. And I was writing it so complicated. I had it so complicated. And I said, no, it's not that complicated. God is not that complicated. God is simple. Obey in what I tell you to do, and you shall reap the benefits. That's it. There's nothing else to it. And so I want to say that the Heavenly Father does bless. There was no way in the world they were going to turn that on. No way. I mean, it was to the point to where I said to myself, well, it's just a lost thing. It's not that big a deal. If I lost it, I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. I don't need it. I would like to have it because I'm trying just to get a little extra money at life. Because my income is sufficient. But even Ruth and I were talking. We just need that extra because I'm worried about my babies, my daughter and my wife. If something happened to me tomorrow. I mean, just recently we have a family member in the hospital. And it's 45 years old. So we cannot take things for granted. We cannot take things for granted. We got to always plan, and the Lord tells us to plan things ahead. The Lord tells us, and to work and be fruitful, enjoy, don't sit and lay. I want to thank everybody for watching my videos. God bless everybody, and thank you so much. And thank you so much for spending your time.